Everyone, I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another Premier League DraftKings DFS slate breakdown. It's a large slate here, so I'm going to try to be as concise as possible and try to get through this in a reasonable amount of time. In terms of the big favorites on the slate, it is Liverpool at minus 345, it is Tottenham at minus 185, and the rest of the games are a lot more even with Newcastle slight favorites over Fulham and Leicester slight favorites over Everton, Southampton slight favorites over Ipswich. But all of the games are pretty close besides Liverpool and Tottenham. In terms of projected lineups and set pieces, if it's this Tottenham team with Kulusevski and Madison in together, it should be them splitting. There is a chance that we might not see Kulu there and some other center mid. They got a lot of injuries, or maybe not, but if they start like I don't know, Archie Gray or something, just as an example, like a Poppy Sarr, then be a Madison monopoly. Otherwise, just to be Kulu splitting. And for Brentford, it's interesting they have Carvalho in the starting lineup. I expect him to split with Mbuemo if they both start together. And that's them. For Villa and Wolves, for Villa, they're a bit of just kind of a rotating wheel of set pieces between Tielemans, Digne, and McGinn. I think for the last, what was it, Champions League game, it was Digne and McGinn splitting, Digne with the outswingers, McGinn with the inswingers, and Tielemans taking nothing. It's usually been Tielemans inswingers to one of Digne or McGinn providing the lefty inswinger options for them. But as we can see, it can be any combo of those three guys. For Wolves, it should be Mateus Cunha, monopoly in this team. If there's a chance like Sarabia's in, he'd split or probably take everything as a matter of fact. But Cunha's kind of been the guy taking as of late. Fulham, Pereira Monopoly, not much to say there. And for Newcastle, in this team, it should be mostly Anthony Gordon. You could see Jacob Murphy maybe take a couple if he's in. You could see Bruno maybe take a couple. And if Trippier's in, he'd be the Monopoly guy. He came off the bench last game and he still has not started a game yet this season. Leicester and Everton. For Leicester, it should be Winks and Christensen splitting. What I know, they still can't get a start, but if he was to play, I'd expect him to be the one splitting with Winks. And for Everton, it should just be a McNeil monopoly. Liverpool. Fullback split, Trent and Robertson, or if it's Tsimikas in, it'll be Tsimikas and Trent. If Trent isn't in, it's like Connor Bradley. I expect it to be Szoboszlai and left back to split. And for Bournemouth, it should be Cook and Tavernier. Southampton. Dibbling and Sugawara split, I expect in this team. There's a chance that Fernandez takes a couple. I don't know what happened to Small. Small was injured, so he's not a threat for set pieces. But Fernandez took a little bit in, I think, what was it, the EFL Cup a couple weeks ago, but did not take any of the free kicks that Southampton had against Man United. It was Sugawara and Dibbling standing over most of them, although they did not have any corner kicks. So they could maybe do something different for corners, but I'd assume Sugawara and Dibbling for now. For Ipswich, it's no longer Leif Davis monopoly. He was kind of just the 100% set piece guy in the championship, but now with Calvin Phillips, it is just a full-on split essentially. Prices. The big name is Mohamed Salah. He's a big decision. I might even have him in my core. Forward's going to be super, super interesting to see where people land because there's so many good options like Salah I talked about, Gordon, McNeil. There's so many set takers, some of them even monopoly set takers like McNeil. But then it's just whether you can balance having set pieces over a guy like Salah playing a team like Bournemouth, who Liverpool have just hammered in the past. So, like, I feel like Salah's probably going to be the most popular option there. I mean, McNeil seems like he's a little expensive. Same with Gordon. Like, I feel like you'd just rather get up to Salah from there. But it's definitely a decision to think about. I feel like Son seems a little cheap. I wouldn't go Diaz or anything, but Son, he's kind of the main guy on Tottenham. He goes 90 minutes almost without fail. 89 one game, but 90 minutes pretty much every time. And he seems just due to me. I know he's got 2 goals, but just doesn't feel like he's been at his best. And in this game against Brentford, I think there's a real chance that Tottenham kind of bounce back a little bit. So I'm kind of interested in him, but forward just so crowded, like I said. Because of those top guys, like Solanke, I think could be a little bit different for GPP. For cash, I think you just go for one of the safer payups. And Brennan Johnson, same thing. Like some of these cheaper Tottenham guys who probably are going to be on limited minutes, like they're probably worth a punt or two in GPP. But for cash, like I just want those safe guys, like your Salah, like your McNeil, like your Son, Anthony Gordon, even over guys like that. Because of the 6 game slate, it's kind of like a lot of GPP ways you can get to just go for a forward in any of these other games. They're going to be super low owned compared to like your Tottenham and Liverpool forwards. And I exclude the like main set taker guys when I say that. Like your non-set taking forwards are all going to be super low owned on not minus 200 teams. Midfielders, James Madison. I likely end up with him in my core. Midfielder is not as crowded as the forward slot is. But there's Madison, there's Pereira, who are probably the big two. I'm not really interested in Tielemans, considering that their set pieces were a little wonky for Champions League, and I'd worry that carry over into Premier League. I know Tielemans got like an assist, or I think it was an assist, yeah. But even then, I just don't count on him to get that every game, considering his position. And without set pieces, I don't think he's worth that price at all. And then like Kulusevski, I can get behind, but I just consider Madison the better option. And there's not a ton of other mids I like, frankly, unless you're looking for value. In which case, there's some interesting guys that get down there. Like Buonanotte, if he's in, I just wish he'd play. It's just such a talented player. He seems so much better than the rest of us. He just cannot seem to get a minute. And then Tyler Dibbling. Stop it, dog. Yelling at dog. So now Tyler Dibbling. Like this is not a flashy play by any means, but he's a 4K likely set taker. I'd worry about his minutes a little bit. But against Man United, a good team, he still had 6.8 points, 10 against Brentford in 30 minutes. I think it might have to be a Dibbling slate out of necessity, just because he's got upside that you kind of want on a 6 gamer where there's going to be opportunities for a lot more goals than like a 4 gamer or 3 gamer that we get typically on these Premier League Saturday slates. So because of that, I'm really liking Dibbling, as crazy as it is. I think I like Jacob Ramsey. I could see him picking up a decent amount of ownership. Aston Villa were minus 200 too. I kind of forgot to talk about their odds when we were going through each game. But yeah, they're the other big favorite besides Tottenham. I think they're going to go a little bit under the radar just because Tottenham and Liverpool have all those big names that people kind of associate with doing well for DraftKings. But Jacob Ramsey is just a good way to get to another good favorite in Villa. And because of that, my dog's got something in his mouth. But because of that, like that's a good way to get to a big favorite, and that's going to go under the radar a little bit in Aston Villa over Liverpool and Tottenham. And he's got a little bit of upside too. He scored in the Champions League a couple days ago. I know his minutes can be scary. I know he went 90 minutes in that Champions League game, which scares me a little bit that he might get an early sub if he starts for the Premier League game. But at that price, I think he could be worth a flyer too. Like he's an alternative to Dibbling for value on this slate. And then after that, there's Calvin Phillips, who's just not that appealing to me. I know he probably has set pieces, but like I said, on a 6 gamer, you want a little bit more upside than that. So I'm just not huge on him. Now Lindstrom, I don't think he'll start. He went 90 minutes in the EFL Cup where Everton looked terrible and like lost on penalties to I don't even remember who, not a lower league team or a lower league team. But if he starts somehow, that's probably my favorite value on the slate. He's usually cheaper than all the other guys that I was looking at and has upside to match having set pieces as well. Now, Harry Winks, he's a similar to Calvin Phillips. There's not enough upside for me. You kind of just 100% on set pieces or nothing. Like there's no really path to getting further points in that for him. So I'm not super interested in that either. And the rest of the midfielders, Nothing huge there. So yeah, the value mids I'm kind of looking at Ramsey, Dibbling, Lindstrom if he's in, which would be crazy, but would love that. Now defenders, there's a lot of good defenders here. A lot of set takers. There's Trent, Robertson, Sugawara, Digne, Trippier if he's in somehow, Simicast if he's in, Leaf Davis, Lewis Hall's taken a few. Because of that, and none of these guys are kind of underpriced to make one kind of a lot more appealing than the other. They're all priced as they should be, probably, which makes it really hard to kind of narrow down which defenders to go. I know Robertson was really poor last game, but I still back him to kind of do well if he starts. I worry about his minutes a little bit. Tsimikas did play pretty well against Milan for UCL, but he's still a Liverpool set piece taking player in a good matchup. So he's tempting. Trent tempting. I think Trent's probably the one I end up going first in cash just because he's got more upside over the rest of these guys. But like Sugawara, Digne, Roberts, they're all tempting, all of them. Like I'm probably not going to commit to having a defender in core because like so many of these options, and I think it's a real tough decision of which combos do you go. And even if you can really cram two of these expensive defenders with how good the expensive forwards are, like it's just tough slate here. And like if you're not going those guys, like there's Christensen who is like a cheaper version of those elite set takers. He's not as good by any means, but he should have set pieces. Everton's a lot better of a matchup than he's had against Villa and Crystal Palace, who are more possession-based teams. Like Everton will not be afraid to sit back, which gives Christensen a little bit more chance to get forward and have some upside to him. So I don't mind that. It's like a discount set piece taker. And then after that, like it's punts. Like there's so many set piece takers on this site that it makes it hard for me to kind of look too deeply into these cheap defenders. In cash, I'll probably go I'd probably go two set takers in cash for D. But for GPP, yeah, I'll have like a little bit of any of these guys at 2,500 or whoever starts. Just because they provide value to other attackers. In terms of who specifically, like I don't know. It's a Diop that I'll pair with Pereira maybe. Hope for a goal off of a set piece I always talk about. But yeah, there's some really tough decisions to make at D amongst that takers for cash. Goalkeeper, Allison's questionable. I'd be a little bit more scared of Kelleher if he's in than Allison's had to like play well in these games to kind of keep clean sheets. Like he's made some pretty big saves in those few games. That goal against him in Nottingham Forest, which kind of tanked his score, but he's not a bad play if he's in. Really, as always, goalkeeper, crapshoot. Go whoever you want, go whoever you can just afford after playing the guys you want for the rest of your build and don't think too much about it. Core, James Madison, I think, just because mid's not as competitive as D and forward are. And then I'll probably have Dibbling, honestly, as gross as it is, just because there's just not a ton of value unless we get like a Lindstrom in. If Lindstrom's in, he'd be in my core. But if we go off of just realistic lineups, it should be Dibbling sets and no Lindstrom, which means give me Madison and Dibbling as a core. And then I think I'm gonna go Salah. I think he's just safe. I think he'll be popular. Like I expect at least one goal contribution against Bournemouth, maybe two. And he just has like a bit of a shot floor to him. Like I know there's your McNeil, your Gordon. But for me, I think I'll just take Salah, honestly. And yeah, guys, that'll be it. Good luck. I'll see you for the next video. Peace.